Monday, everybody. It's Monday. Everybody excited? Everybody happy? Ooh, this winter beard. It's going to need to be cut soon if this weather stays as hot as it is, warm as it is, or whatever. My name is Stuart Davis, flawed man of God. I am a humble parishioner at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a pastor, not a biblical scholar, haven't been to seminary. I'm not trying to get you to join my church or donate to any special cause. What I'm here to do is talk about God, talk about Jesus, talk about the Holy Spirit, talk about the Bible, talk about Christianity, talk about a wide variety of different topics, issues, and current events, and give you my perspective on them. One that I think is reflective of your average Christian guy. I've been a Christian all my life, 42 years, non-denominational Protestant. Don't subscribe to any particular doctrine or denomination. I'm just in the Word daily, trying to do it better each and every day. Sometimes I'll get it right, sometimes I'll get it wrong, but no matter what, if you are listening, if you're watching this show, if you are hearing my voice out there, you can count on getting my honest takes on whatever it is that we're discussing. So, with that said, if you are somebody who is new to Christianity or you're becoming a Christian, you are approaching that decision, right? You feel like you know that you're missing something in life, and you think it's Jesus, and you want to go to church. You want to start praying. You want to believe, right? But there's doubts, there's uncertainty, there's anxiety possibly that you're feeling. Because faith is a big deal. We all understand that. And so you shouldn't feel ashamed so much. You shouldn't feel like a failure just because there's doubt. It's a failing among everybody. We all have moments of doubt, right? And trust me, there's a world out there that's trying to get you to not believe. There are bad actors inside of every organization, and we can latch on to them as a reason not to believe. But the truth of the matter is that we are all here, and we got here somehow. And the thing that explains everything that really matters is Scripture. So if you're wanting to take the next step, if you just need some motivation, we can get that out of the way now. I could stop all the dramatic pauses, which is really just me trying to gather my thoughts for the next sentence. It might come off as either me being slow or me being dramatic. But it's me being slow. But if you need some motivation, I'm rooting for you. I'm praying for you. I want to see you. I want to see you make it. I want to see you get salvation. I want to meet you up in heaven. Hopefully I get there too, right? We should be rooting that for everyone. We don't want to see people fail, not believe, fall away, reject it. We want to see people succeed and be saved and redeemed. And that includes you. So it's not just me rooting for you, it's the people in this chat. Which is not much of right now. And it's not just them. All of Christendom. Every soul that we change is a victory. And because of that, it's not just all Christendom, it's the heavenly host. You were worth Christ getting on that. Well, God felt that you were worth Christ getting on that cross for. And so while we might be filthy sinners, God sees enough in us to offer us forgiveness. And with that said, if you are already a Christian and you just enjoy Christian uh, topics and discussions, welcome as well. You find us run this very similar to Wednesday night study group or Sunday school. It's about small group. It's very small tonight. It's just Thad telling me he wished I started 5 minutes later. But there's usually 5 or 6 of us in the chat, right? We'd like you to be there. We're talking about what we're reading. We're talking about what's going on in our lives. And like I said, if you've been to those small group functions, you know how it is. Spend a few minutes getting, talking to everybody, and then you get down to business, and then you get sidetracked a little bit, and then you get back on task, and hopefully at some point you finish what you set out to do that day during that group meeting. But we don't do this just once a week. We do this multiple times a week. And that also means that the folks in the chat have a big say in what we're talking about during the show. And we're small. So there's not really anything stopping you from being part of the conversation at large. So come on, get in that chat. If you put something into that chat box, I promise you I'll read it and respond to it. So tell me what you agree with or disagree with. Where do you think I'm right? Where do you think I'm wrong? What unique insight, perspective, or experience do you have that perhaps we haven't talked about and considered? Maybe you want to add on to something somebody else said. Share your opinion. Ask questions. Not saying I'm going to have an answer to your question, but at the least we can talk about your question. Maybe we can point you in the right direction, or maybe one of the fine folks in the chat has the answer for you, or a lead or something. With that said, Monday. Start off with a lot of energy, but these days are busy. These days are busy. And I noticed that today, just now, that we are wrapping up. We might finish it tonight, depending on how the reading goes. Nope, want to go back to the other way. We might break it down. We'll have to see. So Thad's finishing dinner. Hopefully he'll join us at some point. The Carl you know and love is here. The Carl we know and love is here. How's it going, sir? You thinking we're going to get some snow in the next couple of weeks? Carl and I, both are Virginians. And so I always talk about the weather. We'll see. It's going to be dipping down with highs in the high 30s a week from now. Let's see how long that lasts. So much is happening, it's hard to know what to talk about. Well, talk about Mavericks trade, Mavericks Lakers trade. I'm not going to get into it. I thought it was funny. My brother's he's a big Dallas fan in general. He likes the Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Stars, Dallas Mavericks, and the New York Yankees. Be a Rangers fan. I don't know, but he's having a rough time. So pray for my brother, who is a kind soul and I don't know how that turned out. As hard as I was on him, maybe that's what helped him with that. But Uh, yeah, give him some prayers. He's got a he's got a tough business that he's in for, I guess, being a kind person. Hard to be kind when you do what he does. Not going to get into it more than that, but it's good that he is who he is, and I'm appreciative of that. Day. All right, so we are starting Proverbs 31 tonight. The words of Lemuel. And again, this is going to wrap up our marathon or endurance race or whatever you want to call it that has been Psalms and Proverbs. And as I said in the description, and I've mentioned this on the show before, this has been about a year and a third journey, a year and a quarter journey. It's a lot. It's been a long time. And while it's been great to hear the beautiful descriptions and the why and the wisdom and the worship that has come from David, Solomon, and many others during this time, I'm also looking forward to what's next. And so after this, we're going to be in Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon. And Ecclesiastes will be a bit different. Song of Solomon will be very short, maybe a little risque, depending on your depending on your taste. And then we will be getting into some major prophecy books. It was Isaiah and Jeremiah. We'll get we still have a couple of really big narrative books in Daniel. Daniel's going to be beautiful. Hosea's going to be difficult. Jonah's going to be fun and introspective at a different beat from Hosea. And in between them, we're going to have some other narrative and some minor prophecy. But it's going to be after. I mean, Jonah's kind of short. I don't know how long it's going to take us, but once we're out of Isaiah and Jeremiah, it might roll real fast. And then the next thing you know, we finna be in the New Testament. But here's my advice to you guys, and I'm sure you all understand it and probably adhere to it better than me. But my dad told me this, don't wish your life away. Don't go, I can't wait until X day. I can't wait until my summer vacation. I can't wait till Christmas. I can't wait till this. Enjoy each day to the fullest, as much as you can. Because you'll be able to appreciate it better. And you won't feel like you missed out once you're done. I mean, I try to slow that down, especially if you got kids, y'all. You want to enjoy the time that you get with them, because at the end, this is me, and my oldest is 11, right? And I've been saying it for years. Where's the time going? Days are long and the years are short. And while I am delighted in how they are growing, it's, as all parents know, a bittersweet that you're leaving behind great memories and great moments. Of course, mine aren't at the difficult ages yet. So ask me in a few years. Hopefully, I'm still streaming. Let's see if I have. Let's see if let's see if all this hair I've got is still here. Now, y'all don't see this that much because I wear a hat. Because I wear this hat because I like wearing a hat on the show. I'm a big hat wearer, and my wife got me this hat as a, uh, you know, very early when I started streaming. My wife got me this hat as a show of support, and I wear it really more because she gave it to me than the fact that it says "Flawed Man" on it. Um, it's just part of what I wear. Um, but normally I have a pretty close cropped hair, though I grew it out. Um, some of y'all might remember that I grew it out when my youngest daughter was uh, was while my wife was pregnant with my youngest daughter, and I'd grown it out and curled out, and I looked like a homeless man. My beard was like huge. Y'all go back and watch the SCD episodes from a year and a half ago. It's pretty epic. But I don't like having my hair long enough that I have to worry about doing anything with it. When I joined the army and I got into basic training, I had like a bowl cut, that or something kind of similar to that. That was kind of one of the hairstyles at the time, and I was mortified that my head was getting shaved, and I didn't look good at my weight either. Uh, with my head shaved like that, but I immediately liked it because it takes no time to get ready in the morning because you're not fooling with your hair at all. I mean, don't have to worry about wearing a hat and your hair gets messed up. You don't have to worry about cowlicks. You don't have to worry about tangles. You don't have to worry about any of this. Don't have to worry about shampoo, soap, right? Now, once I got out of training, uh, I got myself a high and tight, and that's been kind of pretty much my hairstyle since. And so I don't like it getting any longer than that. But in the wintertime, I've started growing it out. My wife likes it. Hard Knocks was me. Leonard Wood. I know a lot of folks who went to Leonard Wood. Obviously, we all know folks Leonard Wood, Jackson. But Knox, back when it was capital of the cavalry, the home of the cavalry, and the Patton Museum was there. Got great pictures of me standing next to a Stuart tank. But that was a wild time. I think I've talked about it before. I went to basic training a month after less than a month after 9/11. Still all male. I don't know if it is anymore. Who knows? Anyway, so I like to keep it short. But I grew it out but I grow it out in the winter, and it looks like a bad comb over or something. Everybody's always said you're gonna go bald. You're gonna be bald, dude. I've had a 5 head since I was that age, since I was 17, 18 years old. The hairline doesn't recede; it just stays high. But when it goes, I guess it goes. What's going on, Jenny? How you doing, man? Glad to see you here. Carl says, enjoy the time with your kids while you can. I got a 17-year-old. Man, I'm going to be a mess. That said, I tried it once and had cuts all over my scalp. Uh, BHAST works better. What are you talking? A BHAST works better. A what works better? Boop, boop, boop. Earl said we had an RCF there around 2011, closed down when the new jail in Leavenworth. Oh, okay. So were you doing? Did you do MP OSIT at Leonard Wood then? Because that's what I'm picturing, considering what you're saying. Oh, a hat works better. Okay, similar. Steve, who's I need to get on his case. He hasn't been on the stream, been in the chat in a while. His brother, who's I'm very close friends with, he started off as an MP. OSA training, and he's sergeant major now. Believe it or not. All right, let's get into Proverbs 31. Let's finish this last Proverbs, because for the most part we have been going through Solomon's wisdom. But tonight and the previous episode, we've been going through different wisdom from other people. So tonight it's going to be the words of King Lemuel, the oracle, which his mother taught him. His mother taught him the words. And that makes sense considering how it starts. It's good that they kind of did that, or else we would be like, why is a king saying this? What, O my son, and what, O son of my womb? And what shall I advise you, O son of my... This kind of runs like a psalm. So let's change gears. We've been in we returned to Amplified for Proverbs. But we were actually in King James. New King James. We were in New King James for Psalms, because that translation to just the floweriness of the language just makes it better. Let's do it that way. All right. The words of King Lemuel, the utterances which his mother taught him. What, my son, and what, son of my womb, and what, son of my vows? Do not give your strength to women, nor your ways to that which destroys kings. It is not for kings, O Lemuel. It is not for kings to drink wine, nor for princes intoxicating drink, lest they drink and forget the law, and pervert the justice of all the afflicted. Give strong drink to him who is perishing, and wine to those who are bitter of heart. Let him drink and forget his poverty, and remember his misery no more. Open your mouth for the speechless, in the cause of all who are appointed to die. Open your mouth, judge righteously, and plead the cause of the poor and needy. Slower? Okay. Let's start where it really starts to get into things. Do not give your strength to women, nor your ways to that which destroys kings. It is not for kings, O Lemuel. It is not for kings to drink wine, nor for princes intoxicating drink, lest they drink and forget the law, and pervert the justice of all the afflicted. Give strong drink to him who is perishing, and wine to those who are bitter of heart. Let him drink and forget his poverty, and remember his misery no more. Open your mouth for the speechless in the cause of all who are appointed to die. Open your mouth, judge righteously, and plead the cause of the poor and needy. Thanks, Dad, for telling me to um, cool my jets. Right. All right. So starts off King Lemuel. This is something his mom taught him, and so he's repeating that. Do not starts off, it's kind of an introduction, kind of a son of my son. Son of my son, this is meant for you. Do not give your strength to women, nor your ways to that which destroys kings. It's funny, um, having a discussion, or no, it's not much of a discussion. There's a guy, and I don't know why it is. It seems to be just every year he circles back, and there's an interaction between us regarding women in ministry. And I tell him it all comes because basically the argument always comes down to Paul's letter to Timothy. But what I tell him is it's not just Paul's letter in Timothy. It is consistent throughout the Bible that the role of leadership in nation, in the church, in the family should be filled by the man. And it says this several times. It's demonstrated several times throughout the New and the Old Testament. More so, I would say, in the Old Testament, as far as where it's demonstrated. Taught more in the New. And here we have it, and I haven't even thought about this, but here we have it in Proverbs 31, kind of saying, look, don't obsess with women. Don't let them kind of usurp the role that you're in. Don't let them be, kind of act in your interests as in governorship, in leading. Carl, you brought up military stuff. It's I feel like it's the warning of the wife, the military wife, and the stereotype is more largely with the wife because it is still more a male dominated military, but the stereotype with the military wife is the major's wife, or the first sergeant's wife. And her husband has rank, and this does not happen all the time. I will tell you this. I know wives, and they don't act like this all the time, but it's kind of like what does Zazu say in The Lion King? There's one in every family. There's one in every unit. There is a wife in there who just assumes that her husband's rank is her rank as well. And I've never seen it where the husband of a woman service member does the same thing. I would not be surprised if it happens. It's just I've never seen it happen. But they expect the same respect and privilege that their spouse has, simply because they're married to him, and everybody rolls their eye at it. Everybody rolls their eyes at it. They think they get all the fringe benefits of their husband being the first sergeant, or the battalion XO, or whatever. It's not just limited to those, but that's just a couple examples that I gave out there. And, I think that there's something to say for that. There's something to say for giving your attention so much to physical desires, physical pursuit of romance, that you forget your responsibilities, or your responsibilities get put on the back burner because you're involved in amorous entanglements. And I think that falls back for nor your ways to that which destroys kings. And you think about the things that destroys kings: pride, um, hedonism, corruption, political corruption, incompetency. It falls into that. I think you get a little bit of incompetency in all of that. But I think all of it is if you're not paying attention. And we see this with Solomon, is a great example. He's a man granted ridiculous wisdom by God. It is it is quite the boon. And he uses it to much success, and does and does very well by Israel, doing exactly what he asked God to do: have the wisdom to lead my people. But at the same time, knowing better, he had many wives and many concubines. And while some were probably righteous, others we know for a fact were involved in pagan traditions and practices, and worshiping false gods and demons. And it became, and Solomon was distracted by this, and he fell into that practice. The wisest man. This is what I said at the beginning of the show. If you are worried, if you are feeling anxious and doubtful about things, and it's something that everybody deals with, the same thing. We all have our weakness. Solomon, the wisest man on the planet, the wisest there was, is, and ever will be, still had vices. Still had a flaw. And it caused him to do some things he knew he shouldn't be doing. Now, this isn't Solomon talking, but it's a good example. It is not for kings, O Lemuel, it is not for kings to drink wine, nor for princes intoxicating drink, lest they drink and forget the law. Very, very simple, very straightforward on this. It's talking about giving into drunkenness. You got to be sharp. You got to keep your wits about you. We think about, if we think about this in modern day, from a modern day perspective, it's, think of how busy the president's job is. It's full of a lot of going ons. He's got staff, and he's got aides, and he's got all this other. He's got he's got an entire cabinet of people doing things for him. But it all comes down to him. And so he's got to have a clear mind. We just had and got to experience a president who was mentally compromised in a big way. And we see what kind of problems that caused. Not the previous guy. Biden, right? And that wasn't due to alcohol. That was due to dementia. But you know how you've acted when you've been drinking too much. You know people how they act when they are um, suffering from too much. You don't drink and drive. Why? Because of how it impairs you. You wouldn't want your surgeon working on you if he had been drinking 2 hours prior. This guy's running a 10, 11 out of 10. Yeah. Whew. Funny thing is, and look, this is not me trying to pump Trump up as a paragon of virtue, right? We all know he's got his issues, but he doesn't drink. He doesn't drink. And I don't know how pervasive a problem that is in DC, but who knows? Maybe that gives him a bit of an edge. Lest they drink and forget the law. David certainly did. And he's not the only one. Happened to Jacob, happened to Noah, happened a lot. He's not the only one. Lest they drink and forget the law and pervert the justice of all the afflicted. And it says the footnote is sons of affliction. We don't need to specify just that. You can just pervert justice. Because you're not coming at it lucid. You're not coming at it with a clear head. And what kind of example does that set? Give strong drink to him who is perishing. If anybody has ever known somebody who's been on hospice care, it's not so much strong drink as it is morphine or other painkillers these days. That's what it's for. That's what that stuff is for. It's not for you to abuse. It's not for you to mentally check out or any of that stuff. It's for the people who are dying. This sounds like a prohibition on hard liquor, though. No. And wine to those who are bitter of heart. Some alcohol at the end of a long day. Kind of relax yourself. Kind of help you. This is dangerous, though. This is the dangerous when let him drink and forget his poverty, his loss, his problems. That's dangerous to do. Because a lot of times that can lead to addiction. There's nothing wrong with using alcohol as a way to relax and ease worries. But again, not to the point that you're addicted to it. Not to the point that you are falling down drunk. Somebody wake the Baptists up and tell them there's drinking going on in the Bible in Proverbs, and let them know. Barge into Proverbs going, wait a minute, why don't you mean give grape juice to those who are bitter of heart? When they say strong drink, maybe it's a carbonated soda. Don't tell them about the dancing. Open your mouth for the speechless and the cause of all who are appointed to die. And this says, footnote says, sons of passing away. I don't know what that means. Just get rid of that. Open your mouth for the speechless and the cause of all who are appointed to die. Open your mouth, judge righteously, and plead the cause of the poor and the needy. Look out for the people who don't have their own voice. I mean, this is leadership, governorship 101. You're looking out for your people. You need a clear head to do it. You need to be fair in how you do it, and you need to make sure that there aren't people that as few people as possible slip through the cracks and are denied justice, are denied rights, are denied what we're supposed to, or what a king is supposed to provide for his people. Rule, judgment, security. You need to make sure that you're not drunk and you're not chasing women, chasing skirts, so that you can do these things. That other stuff, wine, strong drink, excuse me, that's for other people. It's not for you. Let's keep rolling. The virtuous wife. Here we go. And this one right here, this proverb part, this line right here is verse. Who can find a virtuous wife? This says a virtuous wife. What is the footnote here? A wife of valor. Oh, wait, I haven't read all of this yet. Okay, let me read the whole thing first. Who can find a virtuous wife? For her worth is far above rubies. The heart of her husband safely trusts her, so he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeks wool and flax and willingly works with her hands. She is like the merchant's ships. She brings her food from afar. She also rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household and a portion for her maidservants. She considers a field and buys it. From her profits she plants a vineyard. She girds herself with strength and strengthens her arms. She perceives that her merchandise is good and her lamp does not go out by night. She stretches out her hands to the distaff, and her hand holds the spindle. She extends her hand to the poor. Yes, she reaches out her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of snow for her household, for all her household is clothed with scarlet. She makes tapestry for herself. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. Her husband is known in the gates. When he sits among the elders of the land, she makes linen garments and sells them, and supplies sashes for the merchants. Strength and honor are her clothing. What did I say? Strength and honor are her clothing. She shall rejoice in time to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and on her tongue is the law of kindness. She watches over the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her. Many daughters have done well, but you excel them all. Charm is deceitful, and beauty is passing. But a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. This is a great proverb to wrap up all of this. And we hear this at the beginning. This is a mom giving advice to her son, teaching him his responsibilities, and from her part, what she knows about women, what advice she can give about women that shows that they are valuable, and worth um, the expectations that are put on women from God. We talk about a lot about the expectations of men. It just seems to be just more part of the theme and what we discuss. But that's not all that there is, right? And I've said it before. The responsibility of men can sometimes be lonely, but oftentimes bring honor and glory and attention and accolades and praise, and they get all of they get all the credit, right? But it also can be thankless. It also can be lonely. It can be dangerous. There's a lot of responsibility on making the right decisions on top of them. And we give a lot of notoriety to that. Like I said, a lot of glory. And people see that and they feel like, and women on the other hand, they're a supporting role. And people think that they are in many cases subservient in the house because the man is the leader. And a lot of folks view that in a way that some take advantage of it and think that that is an excuse to dominate your wife, to control her, to treat her like a second class citizen. We know from scripture that that's wrong. We know that that's wrong because that's not how Adam treated Eve. That's not how we see righteous men treat their wives at all, especially women of honor. On the other side, there are people out there who say, well, that's not as good as what men do. Stop thinking about it in those terms. Start thinking about it in they've got their part to play, I've got my part to play. And there is no success without as a family without us working together. And what starts off with the virtuous wife explains exactly why that is important and exactly why the virtuous wife is worth far above rubies. And I can say that from experience because I have a virtuous wife. In my opinion, anyway, it's not up for discussion. But that's the perspective I will be taking because I know that I'm blessed. I know that my wife has excellent qualities about her that some she realizes and some she doesn't. Some things she thinks are bad or are character flaws that I think that are not that way. And so that's like I said, that's the perspective I'm going to read into this. You might read into it a different way. We've got Jenny here. She's going to read it from a woman's perspective, from a mom's perspective, from a wife's perspective. Perhaps even from a daughter's perspective. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend I know what's going on in your head, Jenny. So, who can find a virtuous wife? What is the? Hold on, we gotta. All right, so our alphabetic, acrostic, and heme. I don't care about that. Virtuous wife, a wife of valor in the sense of all forms of excellence. Jenny, how are you grading yourself? Tell us at the end. For her worth is far above rubies. The heart of her husband safely trusts her. Yeah, yeah. Trust my wife. Don't I know that she and I are together, that I'm not worried so much about uh other guys or anything like that. I don't think that she is going to use my affection for her against me. She's not going to wield it as a weapon. She's not going to use it as a um, as leverage to get her way. Now, there are times when we have disagreements, and I uh, have trouble with that because I care for her so much. But I've never been given the uh, the impression, at least nothing that pops in the memory, never given the impression that she has held that affection up as a hostage. And you shouldn't experience that from a wife. She shouldn't be taking advantage of that, because she should care for you as much as you care for her. And she should know that that is not how two people who love each other um, treat each other. To me, that's a grave error. That is a big red flag. The, Even if it happens once, but it might manifest in different ways. If you love me, you'll do this for me. What? It's one thing if, like, if you loved me, you would you know, treat me with respect. That makes sense. But if you loved me, you would buy me this thing. Way different. Way different type of approach, or there's way different things being communicated between those two statements. The heart of her husband safely trusts her, so he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not evil all the days of her life. Yep. I mean, I don't need to get into that all that much. You know, abusive households do run both ways. Generally, the level of physical abuse, when there's physical abuse, is not the same when it's a woman instead of a man. But there's other types of abuse, right? There's other types of abuse out there, and she knows it, and she might use that to her advantage. That's not what a virtuous wife does. And again, big red flag if she isn't. All the days of her life, she seeks wool and flax and willingly works with her hands. She is like the merchant ships. She brings her food from afar. She also rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household and a portion for her maidservants. Not male servants, maidservants. Very important distinction there. Um, she's not lazy. She's got her own tasks. She knows what her responsibilities are and she gets on it. Again, it's my wife. She does a lot of things. And one of the best things for me, that she's able to do is keep schedules straight. She knows what's going on with the kids' schedules. Uh, you know, if, like this past week, that there was a father-daughter dance that my oldest daughter really wanted me to go to with. Hey, make sure you're ready for this on Friday. Okay, cool. Um, She makes sure that the doctor's appointments are scheduled. She makes sure that the grocery orders are done. She makes sure that people are getting fed. She checks in on people. That's stuff that she does. And again, she does all that and running her own business. That's a lot. That's a lot. And me just saying that's a lot is understating that, because and wives and moms know this, how full their schedule is. And I guess that's why, it's not, being a mom, being a wife is not an easy job if you are doing it the way you're supposed to. And I think a lot of wives and moms do. Wives slash moms, whatever, because the wife in the household, she's being a mother to the kids. She's being a wife to her husband. That's a full, when you're doing all that's entailed in that, it's an incredibly daunting amount of tasks before you to keep all those plates in the air. Again, virtuous wife. My wife is able to do that, stay organized for the most part, and still run her own business. I am continually impressed with what she's able to accomplish, and I try my best to make sure she knows it often. And that goes in. She considers a field and buys it, and from her profits she plants a vineyard. She girds herself with strength and strengthens her arms. She perceives that her merchandise is good, and her lamp does not go out by night. She stretches out her hands to the distaff, and her hand holds the spindle. She extends her hand to the poor. Yes, she reaches out her hands to the needy. All right, we're going to back up again a bit for the poor. We'll come back to the poor and the needy, but this other stuff, she's not just making sure that she's doing right by the household. She's also using good judgment. She's also keeping an eye out for opportunity. Again, support is not, people think of support as um as just another thing that needs to be done. And it's not. I was saying this to somebody the other day. It's not the fighting force of America's military that makes them so dangerous. In many respects, it's our logistics and our ability to wage war, our ability to bring our warriors into combat, our ways of supporting them that make us deadlier, because that's the force multiplier. It's not just I'm well trained with my weapon and I have a mission and I have the courage and the training and the will to get it done, and I'm very good at it. No, it's more than that. It's I've got plenty of ammo. It's my vehicles have fuel. It's I have the best weapons to bring to bear against the enemy. I've got intelligence that tells me where I'm supposed to be going, where the enemy's hiding, where I can go. That's what makes it's like the Navy. It's not so much the US Navy that it's so big. It's that we have perfected carrier warfare. And a carrier projects so much strength because of the support it has, or it gives a fighting group. Support is integral to success. And that's not just a truism in the army. It's not just or in the military. It's a truism in the family. It's a truism in the community. But it is not flashy. It's not out, it's not overt, it's not obvious. You have to consider it. And that's why it doesn't get the notoriety that the courage and the action of the moment get. It's generally what the man experiences. But she's out there getting it done in the household and out of the household. She's paying attention to her surroundings. She knows what's going on. And she can make a decision on her own that's going to do right by her husband. Her husband can count on her being wise and prudent and discerning as well. Because she knows her man. She knows the she understands the assignment. And she knows what's good for them. She extends her hand to the poor, and yes, she reaches out to the hands of the needy. She doesn't forget her responsibility to those in need either. She doesn't forget the rules. She doesn't forget what God commanded us, or what God commanded the Israelites about taking care of each other. She is not afraid of snow for her household, for all her household is clothed with scarlet. She makes tapestry for herself. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. Her husband is known in the gates. When he sits among the elders of the land, she makes linen garments and sells them and supplies sashes for the merchants. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She makes sure business is taken care of. We've said, and that's kind of been a refrain throughout this whole proverb. She's an all-star. And she and the men around her husband recognize that. She's got a reputation. Behind every great man is a great woman, is a saying that has been around for a long time because of this. Husband and wife working as a team, setting the family up for success. They're setting their kids up for success. They're setting themselves up for success. They're setting their kids up for success, and they're setting their grandkids up for success. And they're building that reputation, or they're continuing that reputation, because that means something. It means people can trust you. It means people know that you are an upstanding person, an upstanding Christian in our case. It means that we understand the principles that we are supposed to abide by, and we do our best to do them. And we're not stuck. We don't sit around with our noses stuck up in the air. We're worried about everybody. And we're not lazy and sitting on our laurels. And say we, because it's not just the husband, it's the wife. She's right along there with him. Strength and honor are her clothing. She shall rejoice in a time to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom. She's smart. And on her tongue is the law of kindness. She's not a Karen. She's not out there harassing people. She is the calm. My wife oftentimes calms me when I'm irritated about something. Of course, oftentimes I'm calming her when she's irritated about something. But she's kind. She's sweet. She's thoughtful and considerate. She watches over the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. The kids love her, and the husband is just adores her. Many daughters have done well, but you excel them all. Charm is deceitful and beauty is passing, but a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. She might be beautiful, she might be charming, she might be neither or one of the other. But charm is meaningless, or charm is empty. And beauty is about youth. But righteousness is timeless. Virtue is timeless. Give her the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. A virtuous wife is one that can answer for her own deeds in judgment. And I got to say, brag on my wife, she's got it in spades. What this describes is exactly what a man should want. Exactly what a man should be looking for in a wife. If you're going to spend your life, the rest of your life with somebody, she might not be here yet, especially if you get married young. She might have to come into her own as well, but this is what she should be striving for. This is what she's aiming for. And if she gets there, you have no idea what you have. And you can never fully appreciate it. But try your best because she's worth that much at least. So, to the wives out there who measure up, who fit most of this, good on you. If you're not there, keep working towards it. And if you are there, make sure you maintain it because as this says, she's not eating the bread of idleness. This is something you constantly work at to maintain. It takes great effort to get here, I'm sure. But it's not easy to maintain either. And again, I'll have a good time relaying this to my wife and hopefully earn some brownie points by illustrating it to her because stuff like this, reading stuff like this, makes me understand how lucky I am. And I spent a long time, or what I felt was a long time, spent a long part of my life lonely and expecting and not really feeling like anybody, any lady gave me the time of day. But this woman, who was my friend for years, wanted to start a relationship with me, and it has been not not smooth sailing by any means, but it's been a wonderful trip. And I didn't want to, and I wouldn't want to have it with anybody else. And I doubt that anyone else could fill those shoes if she wasn't there. But you know, that's why I try to count. Well, that's why I count my blessings each night to God, especially for her and the kids that we created together. But what a great passage. And like I said, what a great way to wrap Proverbs up. And it's amazing looking back that we have covered so much in 31 chapters of Proverbs and 115 or 150 Psalms, 150 Psalms, 31 Proverbs. We have taken this much time to consider what they've had to say. And I'm not saying that I've got the right take, but I tell you what, I've learned a lot, and you guys have helped as well. So, for those of y'all lucky enough to see this and really go through this, take it to heart. Take it to heart. Kiss your wives, hug your husbands and remind them, in Jenny's case, remind them of your value. God created us both. And we both have expectations, and we both have our own great things. The one when we achieve them, how they are appreciated. And if nobody else notices, your husband should, but even if he doesn't notice, God does. So, all right. So to Jenny, Thad, and Carl, I think that's the group tonight. Real small, but hey, thank you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for being in the show. Y'all are great. As always, y'all are great. To everybody who is listening and not commenting, that's fine. I'm just glad. It's always encourage you to say just to say hi. But if you don't want to say anything, if you just want to listen and go through, that's fine. I appreciate you guys, and I'm glad that I've provided you something you can keep coming back to. For everybody who's catching this on replay, thank you for watching. I'm sorry I missed you. I hope to catch you soon, live and in the chat. But everybody have a good night, and God bless.